Alabama movement inside William E. Donaldson Correctional Facility. We're continuing on with the making of our documentary as we profile the conditions inside of the prison system, the people inside of the system, the injustices that occur, whether it was through wrongful arrest, wrongful conviction. Today we're going to be featuring a couple of guys. Y'all already met the brother right here earlier. We got another young brother. Say your name.
Felton McDade.
Felton McDaily. You were on death row, is that correct?
No, sir.
You never been on?
Young.
Oh, you was too young, but you were tried for a capital case when you was 15.
Yeah.
And so you done had life without parole all that time.
All that time.
You got life without?
No, they just resentenced me to junior.
Okay, they already resentenced.
Yeah, I got paid.
They resentenced you, or they just took the life without?
They took the life without.
So they finna give you a new sentence in here.
Yeah, life sentence.
Okay. All right. So, but before that, let me make sure I want to clarify. Before the new law came into effect, you had life without parole.
Yeah.
So when you committed a crime at the age of 15, they sentenced you to the rest of your life in prison. And just because the law was just recently overchanged by the United States Supreme Court, you're just not getting the opportunity to go back and try to get relief.
That's right.
All right. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Talk about some of the laws that have been passed. As y'all can see, we in Alabama's Department of Corrections. Y'all know this Free Alabama movement. We give a voice to the people on the inside who the government, especially in the South, but really like Malcolm X said, you in the South, any point below the Canadian border. So it's all the South. And down here, this is their system for African American people, especially African American youth. We've been talking about, we're going to talk about two parts of mass incarceration. We're going to talk about the economic side, and then we're going to talk about the sentencing side. Bam, brother, right here, Bam, he's going to talk a little bit about the economics and the politics involved, and then we're going to put that into practical terms, showing and proving that, in Alabama, it's just like the slave system. It is the slave system. It's not just like it. In fact, it's a continuation of it. And the same people who were made slaves since the inception of the slave system are the same people who are enslaved under the 13th Amendment right here in Alabama. So we were talking a little bit about Bernie Sanders, little politics, Hillary Clinton, what's best for the country. Let's talk about the mass incarceration system that Bill Clinton created. And what is your views on it? How do you see mass incarceration relating to the 13th Amendment and slavery?
It's a big, black people, just black men in general, are just a big label for, what economic force for them. That's it. But slavery does exist right now. They think that slavery was free. I'm just gonna give a brief illustration of what I mean that slavery exists to today. Say you have these jobs around here in the prison system. You got just on average, it's about 28 prisons in Alabama, just on average.
Okay.
And there's like 1,200 to 1,500 inmates in prison. And on average, 800 of them have about 800 of them have a job. Well, a job, you know what I'm saying?
You talking about that one prison when you say about 1,200? You saying if you go to one prison, might be 1,200 people on average. 500 of those people got a job.
Yeah, and
you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, okay. All right, go ahead.
All right, well, just on average. Now you have paint crews, you have laundry workers, you have kitchen workers, you have lawn crews, lawn service. You know what I'm saying? Just in here. And they all on average work about a 7 or 8 hour shift every day. Now you have brothers who've been in prison 15, 20, 25 years with no pay, working for free. Now that's now keep in mind you have this, well, they say it's a recession or whatever, I don't know. But what I'm saying is these jobs out here, the unemployment rate is sky high out there in the black community, poor white and the lower minority group community.
Right.
But with that, this will solve a lot of those problems for those brothers out there who don't have jobs. You have lawn service. These are acres of land they are cutting for free.
Right.
So all of those people out there, those people can you know what I'm saying, can be compensated for this while we're not being compensated for it. But you have, like I said, you have lawn crews, kitchen services,
maintenance,
maintenance, and
professional grade type of job
yeah,
that the state, like you said, they take advantage of us, but they bring us here to work those jobs.
yeah, bring us here, and then we get out of prison. We made these 400 or 500 families rich, and then we get out of prison and can't even get a job.
Uh-huh.
Can't even get a job. This is struggle. So on average, probably about like 22, like if I said about 500 or 800 people working for free, just on average out of all these prisons, that's about like 22,000, a little over 22,000 people.
Well, when you say that, all right, then you see Hillary Clinton at one time was accepting a lot of money from private prison corporations. Donald Trump, I think at one time he was called out on it. I'm not for certain, but I do believe at one time he was called out on it. We know what Bill Clinton did with the Prison Litigation Reform Act, anti-terrorism, effective death penalty, taking away the Pell Grants from African American men in prison. And see, we are the human face of that. We're not the number. We're not a dollar amount. We're actual living, breathing humans. All the way down to the disenfranchisement laws, where Bill Clinton, well, those are discrimination laws, where if you got a drug conviction, you can't get a job in these areas. You can't do these kind of jobs. So knowing the role that Bill Clinton has played in this, Hillary Clinton now running for president, we see Barack Obama in office. What do you think? We talked a little bit about Hillary and Sanders. Talk about Donald Trump. How do you see these things changing, getting better, staying the same, getting worse under Trump?
The same. I mean, it all get worse. They're all principles. Their principles are, you know what I'm saying, how they can continue to keep their finances straight. Mm-hmm. How they can keep their finances. It's a thing like how it is. They try to create a picture to where it's a race thing. Mm-hmm. But race does play a part. Like it's a race thing, but it's a class thing. You have a rich class and you have a poor class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that being said, Donald Trump has made so many promises to the people that he was going to uplift this and bring forth more jobs, but it's in all actuality he hasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn to you for a minute. Let's make sure we got you on the camera there. All right. Now say your name again. I missed your name the first time.
Mac Day.
All right. We call you Professor.
Right.
Where you from? What county you from, Professor?
Jefferson County.
Jefferson County. So, how long you been down now?
I've been down 21 years and 3 months.
So you spend more of your life in prison than you have in society.
Right.
And how old are you today?
36.
Dang. So from 15 years old, you've already did 21 years of your life in prison. You still not even 40 years old yet.
No.
When your birthday? Your birthday already passed it?
Yeah, I got locked up April 10th. My birthday was March 4th.
Okay, you were 15 then. So you had just turned 15.
37 days.
15 days after turning
37 days after turning 15.
Okay. And you were charged with what? Capital murder. Okay. Were there multiple bodies?
No, it was a robbery and a murder.
Robbery and a murder, so one person got killed?
Yeah.
How many people were on the crime with you?
Me and my co-defendant.
Okay, how much time he get?
They gave him the death penalty because he was 17. And then that law passed and they took the death penalty off him and gave him life out because he was a youth at the time, 17.
Damn, so between y'all, one was 17, one was 15, and they gave both of y'all, basically sentenced both of y'all to die in prison. I mean, what type of crime were they alleging? Who they say, I mean, what made y'all's crime so heinous that they had to try to, I mean.
I ain't never understood that myself, brother, because, during the course of a robbery, a sister got shot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lady that we know, but now she was accidentally shot. And he told them it was an accident. Out his own mouth.
But they was, okay, so you saying that the person that died was killed by accident?
Yeah, he was killed by accident.
And they gave y'all one the death penalty and the other one life without parole at 15. So what has it been like for you starting out at 15? Because Bam started out at 15 too. So this is two black men that I got in the room that were both 15 years old the day that they were incarcerated. So what has it been like for you? What has your experience been like being so young coming into the Alabama prison system?
Well, I like to say I'm not institutionalized, but I really am because I spent most of my life in prison than I did on the street. Like, to this day, there's certain things I can't even remember about the street. I could be watching the news and the street come on, and I've been on, I can't even remember what it is. And then I done lost everybody in my family, basically real stuff, my mom and a couple aunts.
Okay, that what you mean, like brothers, sisters,
Brother,
dad?
one of my brothers dead.
Alright.
2 of them in prison. My sister and brother sprung out on her run. I ain't seen them in probably about 9 years. I ain't had a business 8 years. No me in Birmingham. Literally.
So what type of means do you have to take care of yourself? I mean, do they pay you? You get a paid job?
No, I working in the kitchen, but they fired because I was about the injustice of how they treating us in there, and we ain't really getting paid them, but y'all working us as slaves. But you talk to us and belittle us like we inhumane, treating us less than human, baby.
So how long you been here? You at level 6 Donaldson, maximum security prison, high security prison in the state.
18 and a half years.
You been here for 18 and a half. Why you been here so long?
Every time I go up, they just say remain. No reason in that, just remain.
So after spending 21 years, how much are you learning about the system? I mean, do you know about, how conscious are you of the politics of mass incarceration? The
I'm
people
pretty, I
involved?
got pretty
Do you feel like, how do you feel about the way that the system treats black men? Do you see the difference in white guys that you meet in prison as opposed to African American men, black men like yourself?
You can, cause I worked in the kitchen, so you seen a bed roster basically, and you see the race difference.
Yeah.
Like at one time, it was 1,200 some blacks and 296 whites, and the rest said others.
Out of 1,500 people.
Out of 1,500 people, it went 300 Caucasian men in this bread.
And what do you think the ratio is today? What do you see today?
I said out of what, 20,000? I said we probably 24,000.
Alright.
Out of 20,000, we 24,000.
So what are your plans? Are you familiar with Free Alabama movement?
Yes,
Have
sir.
you been following? How long you been aware of the movement?
Probably about 6 months.
About 6 months. And so you understand that part of what we're doing is we're fighting for young guys like you, been in prison for, since you were young. I got a nephew, he was locked up when he was 15 too, so that's part of motivating me, it brings to consciousness other layers of the problem. It's not just the problems that I have. There are other people who have had problems too. And so you were 15, he was 15, my nephew was 15. We know there are other 15-year-olds, life without parole, 20, 25 years. And so we understand within the movement that, we have a responsibility right there. But you're not quite as young anymore, but still, that is your story. That's your legacy. You came when you was 15. So what do you think would have been, how do you think the system should operate with respect to young offenders? For me personally, I want to say this before you answer. I don't think a person should even be permitted inside of adult prison until they are at least 21. And then when you think about the lack of resources, the lack of education, rehabilitation, there is no reason to put a child in here because there is no environment for a child. So speak about the environment that you walked into as a child. Did you have a high school diploma or GED?
No, I got locked up. When I got locked up, I had just passed in 9th grade.
Okay.
So, but now since I've been there, I got a high school equivalent. I got that. And the trades, I ain't really like the teachers. Because I felt like, okay, you ain't teaching me, you got another inmate teaching me to do what you supposed to be teaching me. Because you're the best.
And then with that, with the trades, they give you trades to where you can continue to build on and fix the prison, the electric control, barbering. These are jobs. These are full-time jobs that they're making us, that they try to make us perform. Well, the brothers, because I don't do no free work.
That's right.
But they try to make these brothers do, and without any compensation, and then to put them right back out on the streets with nowhere to go, with nothing to do, and then when they go apply for a job, you got a felony. So that opens up the floodgates for them to.
This the reason why we can't hire you.
For these brothers to go back to the same way of living. And
right.
Means
that's how they keep recidivism alive.
Yeah.
And they do that. They on the outside they say, okay, we ain't gonna give them no job, and on the inside we ain't gonna give them no education and rehabilitation. So it's a formula, it's a recipe. It's gonna work to perfection. That means as soon as I get out, I got to do this, that, and the other to try to eat,
right.
And I'll be back.
Right.
And that's how they keep the system churning. So, what are your plans moving forward? I mean, we trying to get education in. We want the law. Talk about the law, Miller versus Alabama, for a minute. Being in your situation, you understand that it's not even mandatory that the judge re-sentence you. Tell me about that. Talk about that.
Okay, it's basically they got 14 different standards that the judge got to look at. How old you was, your family life, your drugs addiction, your mental health, what you had to do in the crime, what your part was in the crime. Like, you know, it came out of my case that, you know, my co-defendant confessed it over accident, and I wasn't even tripping, man. Like, when I went back, and the judge actually did personally, like, 3 times, did you actually read his case? And he was like, yeah. She was like, well, could you see him being convicted of a capital murder case? Back then, if you had the case, he was like, no. And she being a former prosecutor, she said the same thing. I don't see how you got convicted of capital murder.
Oh, this recently when you went back for
Yeah, this
re-sentence.
is when I went back last year.
And so this you done already did 21 years,
Yeah.
and they still holding you some more with the discretion to re-sentence you, and you weren't even the person that actually killed them.
That's right, but now through the Miller versus Alabama, they saying that by them giving us, taking life out of off us and giving us a life sentence, we still won't be eligible for parole. That they signed in the law for 30 years. You got to do 30 years, so it ain't just us. It's young brothers that they putting capital murder cases on that's 15, 16, 17. You telling this young brother that you got to do 30 years before you go for parole,
Yeah.
then I still might not let you out.
Yeah, and then what is the significance of the 30 years? Is that a curriculum that they got? They got a 30-year program or something?
That's why I
What makes
understand.
30 years of value to the issue that they're trying to address?
I ain't figured it out yet. I'm doing all the research I can, but now it's Department of Correction. You ain't correct. What is you correct? You really not correct. It's a rehabilitation. What is you a rehabilitate?
Yeah.
That's what I don't
They're
understand.
correcting us to help us to continue to be a labor force for them.
That's basically what it is.
That's
That's
it.
what it is.
Do you see the finance in this thing? Do you see how the money train is working? You know how they using the stove, the snag line, the wall phone,
Yeah.
3150 urine.
Like I read in the newspaper, you know, the VO5 shampoos and conditioners, those cost $1 in a dollar store, and on the package they cost like $9, $10, or in a dollar in a store a pair of box, 3 pair of boxes that'll probably run you for about like $3 or $4. But up here, it's like $30 for 3 pairs of boxes.
Plus the $5 to send them.
Yeah. So they make
You know
a
what I'm
grand theft. This
You
is
gotta-
capitalism. This is capitalism in the fullest.
They
It's
doing
slavery.
And-
It's just economic oppression and enslavement of people.
that.
And
They doing that.
yeah, capitalism. This is capitalism in full effect. Then all capitalism, I've discovered that all capitalism isn't bad. It's just the way that they using capitalism. It is because they're doing it to oppress the people and to make grand theft off the people. Like capitalism, I'm gonna give you an example of how capitalism does help build economies. Like Africa has 11 of the 20 richest economies, to where they want to, like, the people, these large corporations and companies, they'll rather, like, work release. Perfect example. Work release. They have Tyson Chicken. They had these tag plants. So they'll rather we got these prisons to do it for free than to pay these people out here that's unemployed. But that helps to, not this right here, but with the what's the word I'm looking for? It's about the about these companies. Yeah, with those companies that they are forced labor over here, and then they'll take them over there to Africa, to other continents, and repeat the cycle. You know what I'm saying? But it builds the economies over there, but it's steady tearing down the black communities and oppressing us over here.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna just read from a document I got. This is an article that was written in Truthdig. Y'all can see truthdig.com. It was written by Chris Hedges. It's called Boycott, Divest, and Sanction Corporations That Feed on Prisons. It was written April 5th, 2015. And what it does is it just gives a list of the name of some of the corporations that are involved in using prison slave labor. AT&T, they have call centers in prisons. When you dial 611 or whatever, most of the time the person on the other end answering that phone is a person who's incarcerated. Abbott Laboratories, Bank of America, Bayer, Berkshire Hathaway. All these are investors in private prisons. Cargill, Caterpillar, Chevron, the former Chrysler Group, Costco, Wholesale, John Deere, Eddie Bauer. These people get products made in prisons. Eli Lilly, ExxonMobil, Fruit of the Loom, Geico, GlaxoSmithKline, Glasgow Wellcome, Hoffman and Roach, International Paper. We're making all these different products and provide services for all these different companies. JanSport, Johnson and Johnson, Kmart, on their shelves, prison labor, slave labor, Koch Industries, Mary Kay, McDonald's, the uniforms, the meat patties, the frozen patties, the milk, real farms out west, dairy farms using prison labor to milk these cows and provide these products to the prison system. Merck, Microsoft, Motorola, Nintendo, Pfizer, Procter and Gamble, Quaker Oats, Sara Lee, Sears, Sprint, Starbucks. Those cups that you drink at Starbucks made through forced prison slave labor. State Farm Insurance, United Airlines, UPS, Verizon, Victoria's Secrets, Walmart, Wendy's, just to name a few.
And Michael Jordan.
And these are what we're trying to do is show you the magnitude and the scale of the economics behind what we call mass incarceration. Because see, these corporations are part of the scheme to exploit the poor, the black, the underclass in this country. They pass mandatory minimum laws. They pass habitual offender laws to keep us in prison longer so we can continue to make these products. And on the federal side, the federal government, I'm reading from an article titled Corporations Involved in Profiting Off Prison Labor. Prison for Profit, Dirty Secrets. Prison labor with no union protection, overtime pay, vacation days, pensions, benefits, health and safety, or Social Security withholdings also makes complex components for McDonnell Douglas, Boeing F-15 fighter aircraft, the General Dynamics Lockheed Martin F-16, and Bell Textron's Cobra helicopter. Prison labor produces night vision goggles, body armor, camouflage uniforms, radio and communication devices, and lighting systems and components for 30mm to 300mm battleship anti-aircraft guns, along with landmine sweepers and electro-optical equipment for BAE System Bradley fighting vehicles, laser range fire. Prisons also recycle toxic electronic equipment and overhaul military vehicles. Now, what this is saying is there is an underground economy in this country that's tied to how many people are in prison. And they have society thinking that people are incarcerated because of crime, and that's why these sentences are long. But these are the actual incentives, the motivation behind why people are incarcerated for so long. So I recommend y'all go to our blog, www.freealabamamovement.wordpress, and look at our document called "Let the Crops Rot in the Field" as we go into explaining why prison slavery exists in this country and why we must stop it. And that's what the movement is all about. It's about stopping that. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn it over to Brother Bam. Turn it over to the brother right here that we call Professor. Let him comment on the scale of the economics, and then while he's doing that, I'm gonna get a copy of the 13th Amendment, because a lot of people are under the impression that the 13th Amendment abolished slavery. But the 13th Amendment did not abolish slavery. It created an exception. And then we're going to go into showing how that exception was used and is being used today to mass incarcerate black people, poor people, brown people right here in America.
A brief illustration of the 13th Amendment, how it was made to incarcerate, just to disguise it, that they made it like, they made it like that it's acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Slavery would be acceptable if you commit a crime. No involuntary solitude unless you commit a crime. So then all these laws were passed to create these crimes. You know what I'm saying? Just things like, for an example, Ronald Reagan flooded all the drugs in these neighborhoods back in the 80s and in the 70s. But he flooded these drugs, and then I'm talking about just specifically in the black neighborhoods, and giving these these giving specific individuals a lot of dope, you know what I'm saying, to flood in these neighborhoods. So then he came up with the war on drugs. And then another thing is with the gangs, where the FBI agents, you know what I'm saying, they'll come out there to a blood neighborhood dressed up as a Crip, come through and do the drive-by shootings in their neighborhoods, and then start a beef and a feud between the Bloods and the Crips. So then that's when you had your war on gangs. That's where that came from.
Yeah, they create the chaos, confusion, and then exploit it through mass incarceration through these corporations. This is where this all started from, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, where we were taught abolish slavery. And I'm going to read from it. It said, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime where the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. I'm going to read that again. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime where the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. And what that means is, when the Civil War ended and the South was fighting to maintain the institution of slavery, the compromise was made that there would no longer be private ownership of slaves. There would only be government ownership of the economic institution of slavery. So no longer will we work for free for Jim Jones or Bob, whoever. Now you will work for the government. And that's why on our back, that's why you see this. That's why the Alabama Department of Corrections is branded on our back, because under the 13th Amendment, this became the institution that could legally carry on and maintain the institution of slavery, because it said, except whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. Where does the conviction come from? In the courtroom. So what that means? That means that the criminal justice system took over the slave system in this country with the passage of the 13th Amendment. And so then they immediately started passing the first mass incarceration laws that this nation ever knew. The vagrancy laws and the Jim Crow laws. So the people coming off of the plantation were treated to the same type of discrimination in 1865 that Bill Clinton guaranteed we would be treated to in 1996. When we came off the plantation, we wanted a job? No. We wanted a house? No. We needed a place to make residence? No. So the vagrancy laws arrested us for not having anywhere to go or nowhere to stay, while the people, property owners, wouldn't give us jobs.
Right.
The black codes criminalized our lifestyle, our culture. They understood that a man who was relieved from plantation with no food, no water, no house, no way to provide for himself, he might have to steal something. He might steal a chicken. So chicken became the theft of a chicken became a capital offense. And so they passed these laws to trap us and put us back on the plantation, and it never stopped. On up till today, when you see mass incarceration, when you see mandatory minimum, when you see habitual offender 3-strike laws, when you see the age constantly being lowered to allow children younger and younger and younger to be placed inside of the prison system, this is where it all began at, with the 13th Amendment. It did not abolish slavery. It simply changed ownership. And in technical terms, they nationalized it. The same way a country would nationalize the oil in that country or nationalize the diamonds in that country. They nationalized the black man as chattel. We never could be citizens in this country. We were chattel under the 13th Amendment, and they nationalized it and made our owners the government. And so that's why we in prison, working these prison jobs. And so now, same thing as before. They had convict leasing systems in 1865. Now today, I just read off the list of the McDonald's, the Wendy's, the Walmarts, the Kmart's. These are the participants in the convict leasing system of the day. And as a result, that's why we're here behind enemy lines on these modern slave plantations. And so I'm going to turn it over to Brother Professor. Let him give us parting words on this demonstration. We're going to continue on going around the prison, talking to brothers, talking about the politics of mass incarceration and what's really going on in Alabama. Turn it over to you, Professor.
Well, bro, I appreciate what you do, bro. I thank you, man. Cause you giving us a platform, you giving us something to look forward to. Cause what my understanding is, some things y'all did to help change the criteria of the parole board and the way we eat, better meals. But now, my thought is, unity. The first three letters of unity is UNI, right?
True that.
And what it got to be is, it got to become a UNI process.
True that.
So whatever I can do to help, whatever you need from me, I'm with it, bro. Cause I don't want brothers my age come back in prison. Cause right now, when you look around this block, bro, the average age in here is like 25 and up.
What color?
Black. 98% of them black. And me being a former gang member, I say former gang member because I believe that, when you say you a blood or a crook, brother love and community reform, if you ain't showing love, then stop representing that. Because this right here is your community. These your brothers in here. You supposed to love them, try to help reform them.
True that.
You feel me? And they ain't doing that. You feel me? And me being young as I was, I ain't never had a chance to establish ties out there with nobody. I couldn't build no strong bonds and no foundation with nobody. You feel me?
You didn't get a chance.
I ain't never get a chance, so that's why I ain't got no woman right now, which I'm looking for me a wife. I do. I want me a wife. And I ain't really got my family. My family been dudes that I done been in prison that I done built bonds with, that helped educate me, taught me, and got me scribed, to be a better man, that when I do get out, I'm gonna be very productive. Cause I plan on going to film school. What you doing now is what I want to do. I want to help make movies that gonna uplift black folks and show them that, we ain't got to be selling dope. We ain't always got to shoot and kill each other.
Yeah, another thing with that, how they control the masses through the message that the kids receive. And those messages are kill this nigga and pimp this hoe and fuck this bitch. Instead of saying fuck the police, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They don't teach us that. And then you got these movies why every time you'll see them doing drive-bys, shooting at each other, and then when it come down to the police, oh shit, they're the police and run.
When the last time you seen a movie where they were showing black men graduating from college?
I can't recall. See, the image that they portray for the black man is always a negative image. You got 120 definitions in a dictionary for white men, and it's something being uplifting or anything just describing Caucasian, white, or anything, all positive. And then you have 150, I think, that describes black skin as negative, but everybody's familiar with Jesus, right? But in the Bible, in the Song of Solomon, it describes black as something of beauty, significant beauty. You know what I'm saying? So I embrace this black skin that I have. I embrace mine, but through the message, like I listen to music a lot. So in the '60s and in the '70s, it was so much love. They spoke about love, like Marvin Gaye, and they spoke more about love and the message. You know what I'm saying? And then the rappers, they were speaking consciously. Then they cast them out. We like, no, we don't. This is another way for us to control the masses. So that's why they took that away. You know what I'm saying? And gave us this gangster rap. Kill this, shoot this, take this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the message.
How do you feel about? I'm gonna close with this question. I'm gonna ask this question to you. Okay. When you get convicted of a felony in this country, you lose your right to vote permanently. So as a black man,
you said right. We have no rights in America. It's privileges. They have no rights. They're privileges. Because if we had rights, they wouldn't be able to walk up on my mother and shake her down, go in her pocket just because I'm black, or just because they can't. Oh, he might have had something go in my pocket or shake me down, go in and jack my brother up. You know what I'm saying? That's not. It isn't the black man that's doing us. I mean, the people that look just like you and I. This is the police, the badge that they represent. This system. They're not here to protect and serve us. They're here
to oppress us,
to protect and serve the system that pays them.
No doubt.
Yeah.
What I was finna say, being convicted of a felony, you'll never be able to participate in the political process, never be able to vote for who the president is going to be, never be able to attend political rallies and stuff. So in effect, you've been disenfranchised, and in addition to that, you've been silenced. You've been put behind a prison where no media is allowed in. They don't want the media in. They can't come and talk to you. Your voice can't be heard. They control when your voice can and cannot be heard. How do you feel being silenced like that as a black man and being marked as you can't have full citizenship in this country because of a crime that occurred when you was 15 years old? How you feel about that?
Well, I find it ironic, bro, that you got to be 18 to join the military. You got to be 21 to drink. You got to be 19 to buy some cigarettes. But now, they feel like if you commit a crime and you the wrong color, because I know several white guys that had capital cases like mine that got 20 years. Their case got broke down to manslaughter, voluntary murder, some bullshit for real, to be honest with you. But now, I believe, they said through the political system, you got a voice. So they basically just script my voice and want me to be quiet.
That's right.
That's basically they telling me shut up and they can stay in your place.
The United States government are real terrorists. I'm gonna say this about ISIS, about the terrorist group, or the so-called terrorist group. They probably, if they go in there and blow something up, they'll probably kill like on average, they probably do it about like once or twice a year, maybe. You know what I'm saying? And they'll probably kill about like 75 or 100 people. But the police, they average 2-3 killings every
day.
You know what I'm saying? Every day. And then in Chicago, they got a millie going on in Chicago. They got all these police to where they're supposed to be able to stop this violence, this, that, and the other. And all those black brothers are killing one another up there. And then come to find out, they got private organ, the underground organ trafficking organization. So I know those young black dudes probably don't even have any organs or anything.
Yeah. Would you say they stealing organs?
They stealing organs, but now, y'all keep saying United States. It's United Snakes over there. But they some snakes. And if you rub them the wrong way or you cross their path, they gonna bite you. It seems some deadly venom in it. It is what it is dealing with the government.
The police, you see how this is the same thing. This is a lynch mob. You see how they just, what's the brother name that they just killed up in California, where you got 5, 6, 7, 8 police surrounding this dude.
Woods.
Yeah, and this little dude, you can see it that this brother's scared. Yeah. And they still killed him.
Yeah, well, we just saw people like Alicia Keys, Serena Williams. We saw Jesse Williams the other night on the BET Awards. Hey, y'all saw
I love that, bro.
You saw that? Say that again.
I love that, bro. Jesse Williams. He doing what he do.
Yeah, that was a very powerful speech he gave, wasn't it, man?
Yeah, so I read an article in Ebony.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Well, you touched on a couple of subjects. We ain't gonna get into them here. You know, me and you gonna be running around here.
Okay.
With us. We're gonna talk about Chicago. We're gonna talk about.
Shout out to the brothers up there in Chicago, Judy, BD. Y'all make sure y'all be by it. It's love.
Yeah. It's amazing that all the prominent people from Chicago, the Nation of Islam, Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, Michelle, all this power. I think even Tom Jones, is he from Chicago?
Yeah, Kanye West.
Kanye? What about the lady over the Ariel Financial? I can't remember. I think they're based out of Chicago. But it's amazing that all this power out of Chicago, and no one's asking questions about these killings.
And they had the highest rate of murder up there.
Yeah. And these gun control debates, they want these gun control measures, so to speak, so they say. But we can't hold the gun manufacturers accountable. But I'm gonna make this point right here. When the white lady was killed on that little bridge out there in California, whatever that was, the dock or whatever it was, the harbor, they could tell you where that gun came from, who the manufacturer was, when it was sold, who it was sold to. They can give you the life history of that gun. When the Roadrunner scandal was exposed by the FBI and they were selling those guns going over to Mexico, when that agent got killed, They could tell you immediately who that gun, what the history of that gun. But all these people getting killed in the street in Black America, and they ain't telling us where these guns coming from. Who making these guns? When were they sold? When were they bought?
We gotta
Who
fight.
trafficking them? You know what I'm saying? So why is it that when they're killed, they can find all these answers, but when we kill, they don't even talk about it.
We gotta fight. We gotta fight. We can't continue to do the same thing, expecting different results. That's insanity. The same thing that the slaves were doing, protesting, praying on their knees. We gotta pray. We gotta continue to be humble and pray. That's getting you the same thing. Nothing. Every time they see these large crowds marching with these signs, justice, or else what? Or else what? Or else what?
That's what it got to be.
See, we got to come up out of being afraid to die.
Yeah.
We got to come up out of being afraid to die. It's a revolution. It's a revolution like Nzima from Angola in Africa. A lot of people aren't familiar with her, but she ran out of Portuguese. They were trying to come take her, like Haiti. Haiti fought off the American government. They're independent now. Hillary Clinton is placing her own, trying to get them.
They're stealing the money. What they're doing in a nutshell.
Stealing money.
Through their foundation, they over there stealing the money.
Yeah, she done appointed her own president, and both of the presidential candidates over there in Haiti now are trying to protest to the United Nations. Like this is corruption in here. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Trying to get a fair chance at this, but we gotta fight.
Yeah, we got an issue right here in America behind enemy lines. So that's gonna conclude. We had Brother Bam. Appreciate you for joining, Young Bam.
Yeah, I mean,
Professor, 15 years old, life without parole, capital case, co-defendant, 17 years old, the death penalty. They looking for justice in the court. They only get discretion. It's not mandatory. But we feel like brothers like this deserve an opportunity to go back to the street, and that they should not have to serve some, 30 years. There's no significance to that.
There's no rehabilitation in that. Yeah. You say this is rehabilitation.
30 years of what? You know what I'm saying? 30 years of this ain't gonna help nobody.
Servitude.
So that's Free Alabama Movement, William E. Donaldson, giving a voice to the people that the America has said does not have a voice in this country. Said we are disenfranchised. We can't speak politically. So this is how we get our voice. We won't allow the media to come in, no problem. We'll create our own. We the original creators. We the mothers and fathers of civilization.
Right.
And we've been in these positions before, and we've overcome, and we're gonna overcome this.
Everything comes from us.
Free Alabama Movement, man.
Free Alabama Movement.
Free Alabama Movement.
Everything comes from us.